Welcome to the pre-game hangout here on the Dungeon Scrollers. Fearful Symmetry is off this week, and instead we are doing a superhero hack to do a story from my Justice Vengeance universe. It's acanonical, canon agnostic. Don't worry too much about what happens, which means your characters can perish in the course of this adventure. That doesn't mean that they will, it just means that they can. I have been, and will continue to be, Eric Scott to be here at the Hangout, and the game is starting at 6:30. But before we get to the game, let's go around and introduce my wonderful players who are here as a favor to me, and they trust me to produce a good game for them, and hopefully it's going to go well. Let's start with Amanda.
Hi everyone. If you watch Dungeon Scrollers channel regularly, you've seen me before. I play in the Grey Mantle game. My name is Amanda Cherry. I write contemporary and historical urban fantasy, space opera, and the occasional award-winning screenplay. Tonight, I have the great pleasure of playing my very favorite villain, one of my own creation, Ruby Killingsworth. She is a billionaire CEO, magic user, scion of wickedness, and that's her right there on that book cover. And I am very excited. I'm very excited to be doing this tonight.
Would you like to play Ruby? Might have been my pitch to Amanda to get her to play in this game. I might have also bought her drinks before I asked. So, anyway.
Couple. Listen, we had a book come out yesterday. We went drinking.
It's called Femmes Fatale: Bad Intentions. It's the sequel to the original Femmes Fatale. Kelsey right there has a advanced reader copy, not for resale use, that she stole. Borrowed permanently from the publisher.
You know, some people ask for ARC copies of things. I befriend authors and editors and go to their house
off the coffee table.
Like, hey, are you done with work? Just checking.
And they're like, why? Why? Do you want it?
Hashtag life hack.
And Kels tried really hard to be really calm about it.
I was so cool about it. Anyway. I didn't even scare the cats when I yelled yes.
Okay.
Anyway, this is Kelsey. Tell us about yourself.
Hello. Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm gonna be playing Ren, who, let's see, appears briefly in Libations for the Dead. Is a main character in the prequels for that, which are coming out in January, I believe.
I believe that's the plan. Forthcoming prequels to the Justice Vengeance series, which are called Girl Vengeance, because she's 17 and gonna make terrible mistakes.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s.
It's a duology called Pretty Hate Machine and Downward Spiral. And I'm pretty sure for those of you who also grew up during the 80s and 90s, you know what I mean. Anyway.
Yep.
Kels is the originator of Ren, the character. Ren was also mentioned in the first Femmes Fatale book, but did not actually appear. Ren does make an appearance in Libations for the Dead, however.
But is generally not appearing in this book. Aw. True, though.
And the forthcoming sequel to Libations, which is called Public Enemy, named after the band, it features Ren as a supporting character, but Ren doesn't appear and save the day in that book. They got to save themselves because, you know, growing up and stuff. Right.
So I forget that book's not out because I read it a while ago.
They're the phone a friend for Marcus.
I believe that is currently on the schedule for showing up in summer 2024. So keep your eyes peeled. So Joel disappeared.
It's gonna be great. Oh
no. But hopefully Joel will be back. In the interim, let's go to Andrew. Tell us about yourself and how you're connected to this whole mess.
Yeah, how'd you get roped into this?
Hi, I'm Andrew Cherry, and I got roped into this mess because Eric decided to ask Amanda, would you like to play Ruby? And then turned to me and said, oh, by the way, you're going to be playing Jacob. I'm not sure there was a question.
No,
it was just kind of a
voluntold.
Yeah. And I will say this is my first opportunity to play a role-playing game in 3 years, 4 years, maybe 10 years. So I apologize for being a little rusty. But I have played Jacob once before, and unfortunately, reading the background of the character and trying to find my motivation, I apparently am, goody two shoes and lovey dovey and all this other nonsense, and I'm not sure that, yeah, okay, I can do that.
It's going to be a real role playing challenge for you. I
It
can
really
tell.
is. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Uh-huh.
You're so precious. I pat you on your precious head.
And Andrew is married to Amanda, if
Yeah,
that was
that's-
not clear.
If you missed that memo.
There's a reason why I was there, and I also had previously bought her several drinks, so it was a real easy way to get her convinced to play today.
Indeed, indeed. Well, Joel disappeared. I hope Joel's okay. Let's see if Joel has messaged me. Anyway, Joel is one of the players in the Isekai Realms game, and he is theoretically okay. His internet went out and his router is rebooting.
Okay.
When he gets here, I'll have him introduce himself a little bit. But he is playing Marcus Orestes, who is one of the main characters of the Justice Vengeance series. I think that
I don't
also
have a book
makes
to point to for that one.
I think that also makes his character technically the youngest PC
He's a baby.
By
in the game
a
tonight.
generation.
By like a generation, yeah.
We did have another player that was going to play another Gen Z superhero, but she sadly had to duck out. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but 4 players is totally reasonable. We were going to do the whole explanation of where all these characters came from and some like background context, because Joel asked about it during the tech phase, and
So we should probably wait till he's here so he
so
can
we should
hear
probably
what we're
wait
saying.
until he gets
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
All right. So I asked everybody to come up with a way that Vivian got them to come to Seattle for Thanksgiving. And I'm not going to ask you to, tell us right now, but like maybe put some perspective on your character's unique relationship with this person. This is often how I run games like this, that like there's Vivian and then she just kind of like has expanding circles to other characters, and she's kind of the thing that pulls people together sometimes. So that's what I'm doing this time. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll tell you.
I'm gonna go grab a copy of Libations for the Dead while
yeah,
you
okay.
do that.
If you've read the first Femmes Fatale book, I'm not necessarily presuming that you read a book that came out yesterday, cover to cover already, but like you could have. Ruby and Vivian are in a situationship, and Ruby hates most people, and all things celebratory. So basically, Vivian being like, hey, babe, you want to come to Seattle and ignore the holiday with me, as opposed to staying at home and ignoring the holiday all by yourself because your office is going to be closed because, federal rules and stuff. So that it was actually pretty easy to convince Ruby to get on her very nice G700 aircraft and fly across the country to ignore the holiday with her situationship.
She's gonna be greatly surprised.
Oh my god.
I'm sure. So Ren and Vivian have a long and complicated history, to say the least.
Yeah,
I
they have
think
known each other longer than any of these other characters have. Longer than Marcus has been alive, in fact.
I think was Ren Vivian's first official capital R relationship, like, because they never put labels with her and Tony.
I think Tony was Vivian's first official real
Okay.
relationship, but like Ren was Vivian's first non-toxic relationship.
Yes.
And I think that's an important distinction to make.
Yeah.
The point is, though, it ended pretty badly. As you know, to be fair, teenage relationships kind of tend to.
Also, any relationship when Tony gets involved.
Yes, because Vivian's completely innocent.
Yeah,
She
totally.
has
I
no
didn't say that.
complexity or
I
issues.
didn't say that. I'm saying Tony makes things worse. That's his job.
I mean,
Ruby
it's
/ Amanda does not like Tony.
We
so.
we don't we live in we both share my limbic system and we both hate Tony. Yeah.
aw. The point is though, they were very close for very formative years of their lives, and then Ren spent a good 20 years thinking Vivian had died. Only to have
But she
Vivian.
wasn't Ren wasn't the only one. Like,
Yeah,
everyone
Ren
thought
wasn't.
Vivian was dead because
People thought
she
Vivian was dead.
led people to
That was the
believe
whole
that.
intention. So spent a good 20 years mourning this person that they cared about, thinking that they should have done more to save. Definitely didn't give them like a complex that they built the rest of their life on or anything like that. And then Vivian calls them out of the blue saying, "Hey, I need help." Surprise. I didn't torpedo a whole other relationship blaming them for murdering you or anything. This is fine. So how much they're kept in contact after that, a little vague. But the point is, anytime Vivian asks for help, Ren's gonna be there. Pretty much always.
Ren is that kind of friend.
So
Even if Ren does not strictly approve of your choices, Ren will still be there to help you.
look, Ren may have been the one to break up with Vivian. That does not mean there was a lack of feeling involved. That has continued again for years, decades, regardless. So yeah, Ren gets another call saying, "Hey, I need your help. Please come." And Ren's on a plane to Seattle
Do
again.
you anticipate this one being more or less mortal danger than the previous one?
About equal amounts.
It's sometimes
Without
hard
any
to tell.
clarification, basically Ren's assumption is mortal danger is going to be involved whether or not Vivian plans there to be, because it's Vivian.
You've met her.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also a certain level of, you're asking for my help, so you must sincerely need me, so of course I'm going to be there.
All right. Gotcha. All right, Andrew. What did Vivian say to Jacob to get him to come to Seattle for Thanksgiving?
Well, it's on one of two things. Ruby's going to be here. Or are either of your kids currently talking to you?
Yes.
And the answer is 50% of them.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
But the good thing is, I can actually do Thanksgiving with Mike and then get to Seattle in plenty of time for Thanksgiving.
True. In your own suit, under your own power. You don't have to worry
I
about
don't need a
You don't even need a
plane.
plane.
Yeah. It's good to be a tech hero.
Yeah. And, get to clear my head as I jet across the country, and then I can make a good appearance for the child who's still talking to me. Not that there's any complexity there.
Not at all.
And,
yeah, Jacob's been having some relationship issues over the last few years, which have something to do with Vivian, but she's not the primary cause of those relationship problems.
She's not.
no, it's all Ruby's fault.
Ruby is the primary cause of those relationship problems.
Okay. No, but also, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
A little bit. I would actually contend that Vivian is the primary cause of those problems, because it was Vivian's having shown up in Cobalt City that reminded Jacob that he didn't really want to retire from being a superhero, which is the thing that started the whole
midlife crisis.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Jacob does not know. Jacob will never know that.
It's not. Let's be clear. It's not actually a midlife crisis, because there's no way Stardust is going to live to 80.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. But no, he. Fair.
So it's a late life crisis.
Fair.
It's a very late life crisis.
The plan had been that he was gonna retire from being a hero and run the business so Elizabeth could run the charity. And then he was like, but I like heroing, and just kept heroing and never retired. And Elizabeth sitting at home being like, until she finally got fed up and went and did her own thing. So really, Vivian is the reason she started it.
I think an argument could be made that the breakup was inevitable.
It was.
But like,
it was inevitable and also Ruby's fault.
I'm like, Ruby definitely. If you read this book, which is available anywhere books are sold, you do find out that Ruby did give that relationship a mighty shove toward the end.
No, honey. A shove is what a cat does to like a glass at the edge of a counter. It was more like, I don't know, a bunch of tigers and a mauling.
Magical hand grenade.
I would just also like to point out too that Vivian calling people who technically retired out of superheroing back into the saddle is not a new thing.
It's true.
She has a black belt in that, for sure.
Yeah, and ironically, it happened to her in this book.
In that
right?
book, right there.
Yeah. So.
Look at you, unretiring.
There's this
I quit 20 years ago.
Back from the dead, unretired.
I like playing with the different generations of heroes and what they've been through, and like their different philosophies on the world, because Vivian and Ruby and Ren are all kind of like burnt out Gen Xers, right?
Yeah.
Jacob is a little in that Xer boomer space.
Oh, no. It's much simpler. I can still do this.
Yeah, see?
He's just too good for this world. No, when we were working things out in the chronology document that is somewhere in my world, we discovered that Ruby was the youngest of that group, that generation, and technically the only millennial. And we're like, oh, that explains.
Oh, baby.
That explains
so much.
So much.
Yeah. And Marcus, when Joel gets here to play him, it was born in the late 90s. So he is a Gen Z.
He's a wee baby.
With maybe a little bit of millennial to him. Like a very old Gen Zer. And then Angel is born in the year 2000, 100% Gen Z. So, okay. We were also discussing behind the scenes which of these characters know each other, because V is not very good at introducing her friends to each other. So, when we decided this happens, which is in about, I think it's November 2020, because Thanksgiving time. As of November 2020, Ruby and Jacob know each other. They have a history.
One could say they know each other.
They know each other in a lot of respects.
I mean, they're neighbors. And spoiler alert for a book that comes out in February, there's a bit of a second chance romance thing in the air.
And Ruby has heard of Ren because Vivian told her about this, best relationship she's ever had, or relationship with the best person she's ever met, right?
The Shrike, isn't he like 70? No, his kid. The second one, his kid.
Shrike's kid, yeah.
Yeah.
And
we had a conversation.
But I don't think Ruby and Ren have actually met.
Don't think so.
No.
Ren would know who Ruby and Jacob both are, because both of them are very powerful CEO mogul people. That doesn't necessarily mean that Ren knows about Ruby being a very powerful sorceress, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Ren knows about Jacob as Stardust is public knowledge.
Kind of famous.
Everybody knows me.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ren probably knows that Vivian has a history with Jacob as well. Because, everyone knows him. So, photographers and the paparazzi are always following him around.
And the moment that Jacob was seen in public with Lady Vengeance, She's infamous.
Several moments. Yeah. Yes, true.
Ren definitely
She's
does
so
not follow
famous.
celebrity culture in that sense, but at the same time, there's a certain amount of it breaks containment. Everything I know about this person has been against my will.
Yeah, I was about to say, as you said earlier, like that you always know who Taylor Swift is dating, even when you really don't want to. Yeah.
I actively do not
avoided it
follow
until this
who is
summer.
dating who, and yet at the same time, I think I have a 50-50 chance of any time guessing who Taylor Swift is dating, just because it's all anyone talks about.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And
Kelsey,
let's see.
you can hang out with me and you'll be fine.
Let's see.
I think famous people deserve privacy. I'm just saying.
I don't think Jacob knows who Ren is. Jacob has never met Marcus.
But Jacob has heard of Marcus because Angel doesn't shut up about him.
That Vivian has never mentioned. Yeah, okay, I believe it. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, that's not what they talk about.
Although Marcus is dating Angel, and Jacob does know Angel.
So Jacob would have heard of Marcus from Angel because Angel, I mean, yeah.
Angel is Vivian's
Angel talks
niece.
about him a lot.
A-Girl, she's a very popular celebrity superhero. In this world, superheroes are essentially celebrities. Some of them try to avoid celebrity, the
and
gritty
then some
street
of them
level
are
vigilantes.
angels.
And then there's me.
And then there's the opposite end of the spectrum of that. Yeah. Actively seek celebrity.
On the one hand, you have people who have worked very hard to never connect their civilian identity to their hero identity, and then you have Stardust on the other side of that.
And Angel standing right next to him. Like, I literally wrote a story. I sent it to Allie actually today because she was going to be playing Angel, where there is a part at the end of the story where Angel and Stardust are standing next to each other like this, just like glowering in tandem at the end. And like, oh.
All right, Joel is back. Hey, Joel. So,
Yay!
you know Joel from the Isekai Realm stream and several other games, and he's also a longtime moderator, Rumpus Imperator. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joel.
Well, that's actually pretty much everything I was going to say.
Excellent. He's playing Marcus Orestes, who is basically one of the three main characters of my Justice Vengeance series. We were just kind of going over how all the characters know each other, how much the characters know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus knows who Ren is, although not necessarily. Well, okay, Marcus did see Ren do some superhero stuff.
Yep. In Libations,
How conscious was he again in that, though?
He was actively participating in the fight.
Okay.
So I would guess that Marcus is one of the few people who knows that Ren is the Strike. Ren is one of the few superheroes.
Marcus also keeps track of every single obscure super, so...
Yeah, Marcus is also a superhero fanboy.
But not as much as his roommate Chuck.
Not as much as his roommate Chuck, that's true.
One of the few people who, when someone says the Strike, can recognize, yeah, there were two of them, actually.
Yep.
So which Strike are you talking about? Yeah.
As
and
opposed
it's never
to
been publicly disclosed who the
people.
second strike is. But there is a second Strike.
Some of us know that, but
right.
It's only because Vivian is not good at keeping secrets.
That's true.
I mean, it's a little hard to hide when a adolescent takes over for an adult man. But yeah, they never publicly disclosed their identity, so.
Right.
And they did it for a much shorter time than the first one did.
Marcus would have met Ruby briefly, but they weren't introduced. He would know who Ruby is because Angel would talk about Ruby. And Angel and Ruby at this point have met and developed this kind of like niece cool aunt relationship. So yeah, Angel's probably told Marcus all about Ruby, some of which may be accurate, some of which might be just wildly exaggerated.
There's a line in a story that it hasn't been published yet, where Marcus is about to meet Ruby for realsies the first time, and he's kind of nervous, and he says something like, to hear Angel talk, she's like a perfect fairy godmother. But when you hear Vivian talk about her, it makes me terrified. And then Jacob cracks up laughing and is like, it's funny that Vivian talks about her that way, because like what they've got going on, but sure, yeah, you should probably be scared. Like,
And let's see, Marcus has never met Jacob, but obviously he knows who Jacob is. Jacob being one of the most popular and well-known
Excuse me,
superheroes in
I'm
the world.
Stardust.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course.
popular.
Marcus
How
has
about
also mentioned that
popular?
while he is mostly into ladies, like he does have a little bit of a crush on
Stardust
Jacob.
was the first person he mentioned as being an possible exception to that.
Yeah. So anyway,
Really, Stardust? That's your choice? Okay.
I didn't write. I didn't write the character.
look, have you seen the suit?
Listen.
Anyway,
Have you seen the suit?
Yeah.
not all
I
of those
mean-
abs are just added. Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's a nice suit, but it makes a terrible Mercedes.
Mm.
And only Eric gets that joke right now. But
Yes, you will
Have you
all
seen the
see.
pants?
oh,
All right. So we got to go to an ad break, and then we will be back for some gaming at 6:30. So don't go away.